everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is past 12 o'clock here right now, 12 o'clock midnight, because I have been really struggling today, and I just wanted to get on camera and talk a little bit about that. And I'm sorry if I start crying because I'm in a lot of pain right now, but this is why it's so important to talk about. So I have an autoimmune disease called lupus disease. And if you don't know what lupus disease is, it's where the body makes, or the immune system I guess, makes too many white blood cells. And so the immune system becomes confused as to what's foreign to the body and what isn't. And so it starts attacking healthy tissue. And this can go from very mild to where people can still live a normal life and like work and just do whatever it is that they need to do or want to do, really, to being very severe and like lethal, where people are hospitalized and dying, and like liver failure, heart failure, all that other kind of stuff. And no two cases are alike, so it's really hard to detect because it has so many different symptoms that it is often misdiagnosed as something else. And statistically, most people do not get properly diagnosed with lupus until about, I think it's like 6 to 9 years after symptoms start showing. And as in my case, I started showing symptoms since I was like 7 or 8. That I started showing symptoms, and I didn't get diagnosed officially until I was 18. And that was just out of pure coincidence, because I was getting an operation on my ear because I have hearing loss too in my right ear, because I have my 3 bones back here that are fused together because of an awful ear infection that I had as a child. That literally had me hospitalized for months. Yeah, so I've been sick and hospitalized most of my life. So how I was diagnosed was I was at a pre-operation where they had to do all the blood tests and, you know, a physical, all that kind of stuff. Make sure that I was fit for surgery and see like what kind of problems that they could expect, if any. And, yeah, that day, the first time that I had blood drawn, they had taken like 7 vials. I know this is gonna get really detailed, and I'm sorry, skip ahead if you can't deal with hearing about like blood draws and stuff. But as we were leaving, after all the other testing, they called me back and said, there is something weird going on with your initial blood tests. We need to take more. So I go back in and they take 10 more vials. So this is 17 vials of blood in one day. And I was there for quite a few hours, and you know, before blood tests you're not supposed to like eat or drink anything besides water. So I was there with my dad and his wife at the time, because, you know, after all that testing and stuff, I wasn't supposed to drive myself. So my dad was my driver, and we got back into the car afterwards. And I laugh about this now because it was actually pretty funny that I got in the back seat and he hands me a bottle of soda and says, here you go, to like boost you up because it's caffeine and whatever. And so I take it and I'm like, thanks, Dad. And I literally flopped over in the back seat and passed out because of the blood, like the how much blood they took. And when I came to, we were like hours away from where I had the testing done and stuff, going back home, because the hospital that I had to go to was about like 5 hours away. And so we were about like 3 hours out, 3-4 hours out, And I finally came to, and my dad had stopped at like a buffet because he knew I hadn't eaten like since earlier the night before, and he had to wake me up. And the only thing that like went through my head was, I smell like hospital. I can't be out in public smelling like hospital. So I went in and like washed my hands as if that was gonna get rid of the entire hospital smell on me. But yeah, so that was the testing that was done. And it was like a week? No. Maybe 2 weeks. Something like that, between a week to 2 weeks, that I finally went in to get the operation done. And it was after I woke up that they broke the news that I have lupus disease. And at the time, I had no idea what that was. I had never even heard of it before. So they explained it to me, and they told me with mine that looking back at my medical history, that I had it since I was very young, or had symptoms of it since I was very young, but it was diagnosed with very early onset arthritis, which arthritis is something that lupus can cause, but I was like 7, 8, 9 years old, and they didn't even test me. And they were just like, oh, well, it sounds like symptoms of arthritis, so, hey, Mom, Dad, your 7, 8, 9-year-old has very early onset arthritis, and we're not gonna test to see if it could be anything else. So, it took mine about 9, 10 years for me to be officially diagnosed, and, yeah, so that's kind of the origin story of how I found out that I had lupus. And the doctor told me that my lupus had been in remission for a long time, but that it, based on like the tests and stuff, that it was starting to act up again, and they made the prediction that it was probably never going to go back into remission. I don't know how they came to that conclusion. They never really explained how they came to that conclusion. But they told me that I had like maybe a couple more good years to be able to work and all that other stuff, but not to expect to be able to do that for the rest of my life. So it was from there that I decided, hey, you know what, I have a very limited time, so I'm gonna do everything that I can and everything that I want to do now. And I did. But because of lupus, I can't do any of the things that I used to love to do. I used to love drawing. I can't do that anymore because if I start drawing, my wrist hurts too much. I used to do ballroom dancing and ballet. I can't do either one of those anymore. And even after like it started getting bad, I took up hula dancing because it was a little bit easier, and I can't even do that anymore. So there's that. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that I can't do anymore, and I can't work. I haven't been able to work since I was like 22, 23-ish, because that was when my illness really started hitting hard. I lost a lot of friends after lupus started like really hitting hard, and the reason that a lot of them gave was really, really crappy of them and showed me just how bad of people they really were. And I'm thankful that they're out of my life now. But at the time, it was like really hard because these were people that I grew up with. And their reason for leaving was because I was quote unquote not fun anymore. Because I couldn't go out all the time. And when I did go out, I was stuck in bed for weeks to months trying to recuperate. So because of my illness, I have a very small circle of friends now. Like, close friends at least. I still have my friends from when I was in college in a bigger city, but we don't really get to see each other that often. So my in-person friend circle is like very, very, very small. And a majority of people that I meet are so unwilling to learn and very judgmental. My own family was very judgmental for a long time too, and my family's friends for a while, not that long ago. People like my family's friends and like other people literally tried to turn my friends against me because I'm sick and I can't work. But the friends that I do have, I'm very lucky to have, because behind my back, like when I wasn't there, they stood up for me because they understand what I'm going through, because they see it every day. Like last night, it was really hard to fall asleep because I was in a lot of pain, so I didn't get to sleep till about like maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then I woke up at about 8, 9 o'clock. Got up because I couldn't get back to sleep because pain, and I knew it wasn't going to be a very good day. And so I got up and I stayed up for like as long as I could. I used the day, or at least the time that I could stay up, to watch some movies that I really wanted to watch. If you haven't seen or read the Flowers in the Attic series and you are into that kind of stuff, just Google it. You'll see what it's about. It's a very famous series by V.C. Andrews. But yeah, I watched those movies, all the ones that they did back in like 2014 to 2015. Yeah, so I watched those. And then at about like 5 o'clock, I went back to sleep because I had to lay down, and I just ended up falling asleep. And I didn't wake up till about like 11, 12 o'clock-ish, so it hasn't been that long since I've been up. And I got up, and with a lot of hip pain, my back is killing me, my arms hurt, my ankles hurt, like the back of my head hurts, like at the base of my head in the back, near, like at the neck, really hurts. My shoulders hurt. Everything just hurts. And yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be a good day today. So I live with somebody that myself and my family now consider as like family. And they have to work third shift, and they're an essential worker, so they have to go to work. And because he knows that I suffered through my illness, and most of the time I have to get him up for work because he sleeps like the dead. But I guess today he got up by himself, which good for you. And he must have seen that I wasn't up, probably checked on me while I was asleep, and because he knows what I go through, just didn't wake me up. Because he probably figured that I needed the sleep. And I really appreciate that I have him in my life. No, we're not dating. I promise you that. So yeah, I just wanted to jump on here and make a quick video about it, because I feel like it's something that's very important to talk about, especially right now with this global pandemic going on. People need to understand that those of us that have autoimmune diseases and the people who are immunocompromised, we are people. We have our own interests. We have our own lives. We're not lazy. We're not faking it. We're not seeking attention. Just because we don't look sick doesn't mean we're not. things like lupus and MS and EDS and all of that, all the other ones, they're very real. And those of us with immunocompromised bodies, we matter. So, with this whole pandemic thing, don't just be like, oh, well, it's only like people that are already sick and the elderly that are gonna die. Don't say that, because you're brushing us aside, as if we don't matter. And just because we're sick doesn't make us any less of people. Just like you, we have family, we have friends, we have people that love us, we have people that we love. And for those of you who see this that do have autoimmune diseases, immunocompromised bodies, you matter. And don't you ever forget that. And just because other people may not see it, you have so much to give. And don't let anybody take that away from you. And for those of you watching that aren't immunocompromised, just understand and be willing to learn. We don't want people to feel bad for us because we already feel that way about ourselves. We don't want a pity party. We don't want people to look at us differently just because some of us are not able-bodied. We just want people who don't have to worry about their bodies trying to kill itself to understand what we're going through and not look at us differently and not talk about us as if we're lazy or as if we shouldn't be here or as if we don't matter, because we do, and we have every right to be here just as much as you do. So protect those around you. Stay safe. Stay home. If not for you, then for us. And remember, you've quarantined at home for a couple of months so far. Japanese internment camps were a year, if not more. There was the Holocaust. There was the genocide of Native American people that lasted for so long and is still going on. You can survive a couple of months in quarantine. It's not that hard. So again, stay safe, stay home. If not for you, then for us. And yeah. So stay home, wash your hands, guys. I love you, and I'll see you next time.